Well, first off, let me just kind of qualify my position in BNI. I've been involved with BNI for 11 years, and I started like many as a member. And I held the seat under the accounting industry in my chapter. And when I became a director and started working with chapters and discovering that I wanted to increase retention rate and I wanted to increase not just the quantity but the quality of referrals, I decided to get in there and really start figuring out why it didn't work. Connect the Dot is a program that came off of several years of me discovering some things that I thought were missing that my members didn't have. And one is how to ask for the higher tier level of referrals. And so that's what Connect all about. How to increase the quality and the quantity of the referrals of my members. With Connect the Dot, what we first do is we first make our members realize that they have to get rid of infomercial type material. In fact, we encourage people to get rid of the words of commercial, even presentation, sales manager minute, all of that language that actually really kind of interprets that when you stand up to do your 45 or your 1 minute, that you're not selling to a room of consumers. Your BNI members are your network. They are your connectors. They are not your target market. They're not your customers. And they are the people that need to go out and connect you to your referral opportunity. So what we do is we first make you realize what you're saying in your 1 minute. And then we teach you through the Connect the Dot process. The first step is identify your ideal client and describe the attribute of your ideal client and put it in the center of a circle. That's your target. And in BNI language, that's your tier 2 referral. That's that outside referral that's brought to you by your BNI members. Okay? Then we teach you to put 10 spokes around the wheel or 10 rays around the sunshine, and we encourage you to think, what other industries provide a service to that particular target market? Not connected to you and your industry, but that they're connected to providing a service to that ideal client. And while we do that, it makes people open up their thought process of who all really services their ideal client. And so what we do, the spokes around the circle, or the rays around the sunshine, are really what we call tier 3 referrals in BNI. They are your referral sources. Those are the ones that are going to have contact with your ideal client on a regular, ongoing basis. And because you're going to surround yourself with people that run into your client base on a regular basis, it creates a natural referral opportunity. And so I teach in BNI to my region, go after those tier 3 referral sources. It will generate tier 2 opportunities. And if you get a member that becomes a client of yours, a tier 1, take care of them all day long. So Connect the Dot is based on going after the highest referral that you can get that will feed you over and over and over again. So that is the basis behind Connect the Dots. David is my partner. He is a BNI area director out of Texas, and I'm out of Georgia. I'm an executive director, and I run the Savannah, Georgia, Hilton Head, South Carolina region. David and I were introduced at the Orlando BNI conference because we were both accountants. And Mark Taylor thought that we should do a one-to-one because we think very similar to each other. And from that, a conversation outside of the conference a couple of weeks later, we decided to create a company called Inspire Networking. And we actually thought it would be really cool to go take what we all know in BNI into the accounting world and teach other accountants and other professionals who are not natural networkers to go out there and grow their business through this method that we take for granted in BNI. So we're partners. Well, like most partnerships that work, I think, one, we have the same vision. Our philosophy is to inspire others. very simply, to inspire others about networking, to be able to go out there and create goals and reach them. So in one aspect, our vision was crystal clear and absolute together from the very first conversation. But we bring obviously different goals or gifts, if you will, to our relationship. I'm not the IT person, and by default, David has learned to be. I'm verbal, he's written. So a lot of my verbal material, David takes it and puts it down to our written material. So we both bring our own gifts to the table, and of course we both have experience in B&I on a director level. So it works. Well, one way is, let's do it several ways. Obviously, live is one way, right? But we understand that that's a challenge in just, being in one country versus another. So we like to work with other B&I directors and even other companies in different states and other country who maybe want it even in their company, not just in their B&I region. And so sometimes that allows for some sponsorship to take place to help cover some expenses, obviously. But on the short side of things, we have partnered up with other B&I directors who really want their members to increase in those referrals the same way I did. So we embrace the Giver's Gain philosophy. Inspired has a strategic alliance with B&I, and so we actually have allocated in our work week some time that we give away to B&I, if you will. And so a lot of times we'll set up conference calls and Skype calls, webinars, and we will actually work with chapters, leadership teams, and so over the internet if we have to, and it can be taught verbally. So we've been teaching this for 2 years on conference calls and things like that. I've learned how to teach it to whether I'm in front of you or across the phone. It's a very clear method to get it. So we absolutely can help. Mark Taylor, the executive director from Houston, I am his week 3 in all his pre-core chapters. Every one of his pre-core chapters have to get on a conference call with me on their week 3 for me to help them get ready for, 1, learning how to get referrals in the very beginning, but 2, how to get ready to invite to their kickoff. And so we teach them the connect the dot process so they learn who they're missing, so now they know who to invite. We can do it in 1 hour. I mean, it's a very clear. The initial connect the dot can be taught in 1 hour. Now, we have a 6-part series that we teach where we've broke this up for B&I members. Each an hour class, 45 minutes for me teaching, about 15 minutes for questions and answers. The first class is an overview. We teach the B&I members how to draw their sunshine. Okay, their ideal client with at least 10 rays around for them to even start thinking about how to draw that sunshine. The next week, we teach them how do you take the sunshine into the 1 minute? How should you word it? How should you get rid of the infomercial material? So we talk about how you can structure your 1 minute and take that sunshine and breathe life to it, okay? Then the next series is how do you take it to your 10-minute training moment. And so we teach you how to actually present this in several different ways in order to get your chapter to help you build your sunshine or start filling in the blanks on your sunshine with real people, not just industries. So we teach you how to do that. The third is how do you take it to open networking? The most underutilized 15 minutes in the B&I meeting that can create incredible referral opportunities. So we teach you how do you take connect the dots into open networking. If you're growing your business with 1 minute every week, isn't it amazing what you could do if you have 16 minutes every week? Well, you do. We just have members that aren't thinking that way. So we teach you that. Week 4 is how do you take it into a proper one-to-one? How to take it into a proper one-to-one. And then in the last one is now that you've built a referral power team, what do you do with it? How do you market? How do you have some accountability with it? And so the whole series is done over 1 hour classes, and they're a 6-part series. So however fast you guys would want that, we can make it happen. Once a week, we could do it we would just have to line it up and work out the logistics and the webinars and all that, but it can be done.
It's amazing, and one of the amazing things we found about our partnership has been the way we sync up together. Amy will have a thought and just share the thought with me, and then I'm able to put it down in a format that is for PowerPoint, for written materials, whatever it is. And it's eerie in some ways how in sync we can be as we're going through an idea and we're talking it out. So what we do is we will sit down and have phone conversations with Amy in Georgia and myself in Texas. We'll get on the phone and we'll just walk through it. We'll talk through the ideas. We'll say what will work, what will not work in front of an audience. And we just go with it. We make it happen somehow, some way that amazes both of us sometimes. But it goes back to what Mark Taylor said when he said, David, you need to go meet this other accountant. You guys think alike. You share the same language. I think you would really work well together. Little did we know 3 years ago from that happenstance suggestion for a one-to-one that we'd end up where we are today. Cost for a chapter, time.
Yeah.
Time, make the investment.
Probably the biggest.
That's the biggest one. We work with B&I directors in regions how to mitigate and minimize those costs as best we can. Obviously, there are some inherent costs. If you want to bring us in live, there are travel expenses, things like that. So we work with you. Say, what are your ideas? What's your budget? How do you want to do this? Maybe you have some members who would like to sponsor the event, to give them publicity. We'll bring them up on stage, give them a chance to do a training moment in front of the crowd you have. We also encourage them to open the doors. Open the doors to non-members. Make it an event where you're giving value, and we can promote B&I as well to maybe open up a new membership base for you. But we really try practicing B&I's philosophy of givers gain and our philosophy of helping to inspire others. We really work with the directors to say, let's make this happen. What do you need from us? How can we help?
Sometimes room rental that a B&I person needs to take into account, and that's going to decide on how many people are going to attend the class. And usually what we do is have the director take care of that part of it, because they know they usually have connections in their local area anyhow, and a lot of times they can arrange that for free just based on where they've been hosting B&I meetings anyhow. The other is that a lot of people don't think about, depending on what we're doing to come in, whether or not food needs to be served or not. Now, we basically tell everybody, depending on what time of day, if we do it early in the day, a nice little continental breakfast, very inexpensive, you're not trying to feed lunch. It's not about food, it's a business meeting. And if it's in the evening, we've done wine and cheeses, and where we've done an hour of it was teaching, and the rest was questions and answers and open networking. Again, to keep that cost down, because it's just little hors d'oeuvres and you're not trying to feed. Okay, so we'll work with directors to actually think about the best way to get the biggest crowd with very little expense. And now some other ways we've worked with the directors is if some of their B&I members would like to sponsor some of the cost, we will not only showcase those members, but we will use their company and them as an example in the Connected Op model right there live. So when they leave, they're guaranteed to have their sunshine built for them, and we will use them as examples. So they literally have gotten, Inspired is a consulting business by itself, and we teach a lot. I do a lot of consulting work outside of the B&I world, and people pay for me to come in and do what we give away to B&I for free a lot, right? So when we showcase a sponsor like that, they're getting to walk away, quite frankly, with something a lot of people pay us for. And so that's one where we like to pay back our sponsors. A lot of times we will set up one-to-one phone calls with them and just add that value, because we know that they paid to help us come in. Sometimes we'll actually have very VIP dinners the night before, just for the director and his team, his leadership team, some VIP members they want to recognize. The way I look at it is when I come in the area and I get off the airplane, I am yours until I'm back on the airplane and I'm back out. Put me to work. I am there. If it's a breakfast, if it's a lunch, if it's a chapter meeting, if it's a VIP, in whatever capacity you want to showcase this and get this message across, we can make it work. And that's our commitment to the BNI, because we believe in it. Quite honestly, we believe in this message that much.
It's why we are in business together. Yeah. Absolutely is.
Oh, yeah. We hear it all the time.
And it's funny because I think if you would ask us 3 years ago, we were going to be accountants for much, much longer.
Yeah.
But I had a vision to write a book for accountants to talk to you about how networking has changed, and we've got to get out from behind the desk and get out there and do this. Amy had a vision that she wanted to spread this message. She had a company set up for other purposes. And it was truly somehow we were brought together, and I spur her on, she spurs me on, and we make it work. And we've been amazed with the success.
And not only us, because we were given the opportunity 2 years ago to speak and present Connect the Dot at the international conference, we've been able to do Connect the Dot twice now. The international conference, and the overwhelming response has been incredible from directors and members. It's amazing the emails we get from members who we've never met will email us with their personal testimonies of how it's changed their lives, and that to me is above and beyond anything that you know. It's people who aren't in BNI have a hard time understanding what we get to see and hear in BNI all the time, but we have also had a lot of people at the end of our talks come up to us and go, I want to be you when I grow up.
Yes.
And so, while it's extremely flattering, I'm like, what do you mean? And I have a passion to teach people what you're teaching. And so from that actually had us going back and thinking, wow, how great would it be if there was more of us? So now we have directors who have come on board and gone through our Inspired training classes, and now they have, been taught the proper way to teach Connect the Dots, the proper way to do one-to-ones, and as a result, we now have close to almost 20 Inspired trainers that can now do Inspired workshops, the Connect the Dot workshops, and do some one-on-one consulting. We encourage that if it's a BNI member, the very first 1 hour they ever do is absolutely free. If a BNI member wants to move beyond that with an Inspired consultant, then it goes into the Inspired business. But our first 1 hour, one-to-one that we do with any BNI member, absolutely free, and we will help you build your sunshine. And we do this. I do probably no less than 15 one-to-ones a week with BNI members around the United States, and love to do some obviously across the pond. But we do it, and I'm not the only one. Our entire team is devoted on getting this message out there.
And one of the things we have discovered and why we really went about building this team is there's only one David and one Amy, and we do run out of time. And because of the response we've gotten, it's been like, okay, we want to help every person we can. That's our goal. When we do an event, the goal we set is if one person after this event can say, you helped me grow my business today, it's a success. Yeah. Period. End of the story.